But adding an address, well, I'll tell you about that after I've added it. So once you've added an address, a little map comes up here, and you'll be able to move this around to get it exactly as you want. This will also be displayed on the locations menu option for your public site. So public notes here will also get displayed. So if you wanted to say something like use Marvin Alley entrance. Okay, and then display this location on public website. That will determine if it's actually displayed on the public website or not. Now, okay. So let's take a look here and see what that looks like. Okay, so then you just go to locations on your public website, and you can see that I've added Alexandria Park, and there's the mini-map as well as my information there. Okay. Okay, so after you've added your resource location, you'll next be adding your resources to your resource location. Think of your resource location as the address, and the resources, the fields, diamonds, arenas, or rinks at that address. So it's pretty intuitive here. Basically, just click there and then add the, let's call this field 1. And we'll choose baseball diamond. This here will also determine if this resource is specifically displayed in that same location I showed you on the public site. Okay, and then you can continue to add new ones if there's multiple rinks many times, or diamonds. Many times there's only just one. Let's go. So once you've added your locations, you can see all of those there listed just as a number in your location setup. You see I've added the one here, and you can see that's public. The third step here will be to add the availability to your resources. This is done in scheduling games, and then locations and availability. Okay. The availability is broken up into three steps. The first is selecting your resource and session. I'm going to select the field 1 that I've just created, and we'll select the summer 2014 session, which is the only active session I have right now. If you have multiple active sessions, you'll be able to add multiples. Okay, the next step would be to actually add the availability. Okay. You just click Add Availability. You'll be able to select the event type. There'll be two options here, game or tournament and playoffs. We're going to do a regular season here, not the playoffs, so I'm going to do game, but you would have the option to also do the tournament and playoffs. This is going to be for my Type Boys division, but you could do both divisions at once and then save some time, unless they have different times. So then you do this twice if they're different times. Since I'm only doing the Type Boys for this, that's all I need to do. Okay, let's say we're going to do weekdays for this. So let's select just our weekdays. But you can really select any days you like. And we'll do 5 p.m. until 11 p.m. Now, we're going to do between which dates. We'll say today and the beginning of next year. And then just save it. And that would be adding the availability. This can get more complex between the specific days you want to add, or less complex if you just have a large lump of time to use.
Hey Jason, looks like your screen might have frozen, so just give us a second. There you go. I think it caught up now.
Okay. Are we on the availability page?
Yes, we're back on that page now.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so the next thing after adding your availability is adding the blackout dates. Many times you won't need to do this, but for this instance, basically you can either do 2 time slots around a blackout by adding 2 different availabilities, or you can add one time block and then add a blackout date for it. So let's add a blackout date. Okay, so we're going to say the Tyke boys and the majors, we'll black it out. And we'll say reason is Christmas, but you don't have to add a reason here. That's just an optional. And we'll say it's unavailable all day, December 25th to December 25th. And then save the resource, blackout. Oop. Oh, my mistake. I'm going to do the same date, Christmas and Christmas. Changes saved. Okay. So now Christmas Day is unavailable, but every other day between now and January 1st is available. Once these 3 steps are complete, for all of your resource locations resources, you'll be able to start scheduling. To do that, you go to Schedules and Events, and then Add New Schedule. Schedules and Events. Add New Schedule. I like to make my schedule name the name of the division that I am scheduling, and then list if it's a regular season or playoffs, but it's up to you. It's just, this is fairly typical, so just take boys regular season. And then select your division. Including it in the standings will depend if the schedule actually shows in the standing. Pretty self-explanatory there. And then add new schedule. Okay, so the schedule contains nothing. But all of our work in resource setup has allowed us to skip manually adding to our schedule, and now we can auto-schedule. Since we're doing a regular season, I'm going to select that here, but if I was doing a tournament, I would select tournament. So click auto-schedule. You see regular season games here, but you can also select tournament. I will not go into much detail on tournaments, but it's worth mentioning that the types of tournament generators built in here are round robin, single elimination, and double elimination. So you can see the teams that are within in that division are able to be selected as participating teams through this checkbox here. You can choose which ones are playing or not. Your auto-schedule options are here. I'm just going to do 4 games per team, equal and away, home and away games. Sometimes this matters, sometimes it doesn't, depending on if that matters in your league. Schedule back-to-back. I'm just going to do 1 game per week, 1 game max per day. So no back-to-back games. Sometimes people will do 2 games per week, 2 games per day. So maybe each team plays twice on Wednesdays, and you'll want them going back-to-back just so that they don't have to wait in between their games. If you're going to do that, you're going to want to put the time in between games so to give them 10-minute break or whatever. But it's not necessary. You don't have to do that. I'm going to do 6 days between games and a duration of 60 minutes. Using team home resources for games is an option if you are adding a home resource for your teams and you'd like the Blue Jays to play at the Blue Jays home field when Blue Jays are the home team. So the autoscheduler does take that into consideration. Okay, so this is the game preview. We're going to see some details here. The only thing that's really new here is going to be the total games created with larger amounts of teams and larger variances. This might be something that you'd want to pay attention to because if you get snagged later on in the future, you're going to want to know how many games are created, which will give you an idea of how many time slots you're going to need. All of this was listed on the previous page, what you put in here. That padding was 15 minutes between games that we discussed, or the 0 minutes, rather. You can create games only. This will just create the pairings between teams, or you can create games in auto-schedule, which is what we're going to do because we just did all that work to set up our schedules here. But if you did create games only, you could manually schedule them if you liked. The resulting window will tell me I have successfully completed the auto schedule. In this case, I have 10 out of 10 games that have been scheduled. Often if there's a failure or error at this point, it's because too many games are scheduled on not enough availability. If that's the case, you can choose from here to go back and edit your availability or edit your auto schedule settings. Since that's not the case here, I'm just going to next continue. Now I'm taken back to my schedules and events page. You'll see that 0 out of 10 games are published, 10 out of 10 games are scheduled. Once a game is published, it appears on the public site. The auto-scheduler doesn't publish the schedules immediately because it allows you to review the schedule before you publish. In this case, I'm just going to publish. Let's see, get a little warning here. This will make the games go on the Oregon team sites schedules. Users can go to the schedule and select the division and view the games and events. So let's take a look here. So we're going to click schedule. Okay, and then once you select the division, you can select all divisions, or if you've got a lot, you can select just the division. And you'll see the schedule here. Now, if there are games in the past, they're not going to show in this list view. But if you do a calendar view, you'll be able to look at the games in the past. And you'll also be able to click on these games and get a bit more information about it. Clicking on the detail here can also open the map here for you. So, and the same would go for the team site. So the team site is just through divisions and teams. You select your division, select your team, and schedule. Now you'll see just the specific games, the Blue Jays, and same with the calendar view.
I think there's a little bit of lag when you go to the website, so it's possible we're one screen behind you.
Okay. I'll slow it down. Okay. So also available on both the org site and the league site is the iCal download button. which you see here. Now, iCal users can simply click here to subscribe and start following the updating calendar. If you don't have iCal, there may be other options for you. If you just right-click, you can copy the link address and paste that into your calendar's program's subscription link. So often we'll say paste link to subscribe. This is not for all calendar programs. There's some that this won't work for, but many it does work for, but it is meant for iCal. Now, if you wanted to add games or events manually, this is just as easy, but a bit more time-consuming. I'm going to show you how to manually manipulate the schedules you create. Let's see. First, you edit the schedule that you're working with. So after you've created it. Okay. Now the information up here allows you to sort what you're viewing. So for now, you can see all these green bars here. This is showing available times, and the white bar here are showing the games that have actually already been scheduled. If you wanted to add a game, you could simply add a game in the schedule or the available time slots that you have created here. Or you can always add the game up here. So these are options here. An exhibition game will not show up in the standings and is for no other purpose than to have two teams playing each other and not be part of the regular schedule. A non-game event can be like a barbecue or something like that. And practice is a practice. So let's try adding a new game. We can take a look at that quickly. So, say the Blue Jays on Diamond 1, September 3rd at 8 p.m. versus the Orioles. Okay, now I'm purposely picking a time here that I know is going to interrupt this this schedule here, and just to show you what's going to happen. All right, and I give you a conflict warning here just to show you that there's a problem with what you're trying to schedule. Okay, so let's move this to the morning.
I'm still looking at the conflict warning, so just we might just be one. There we go.
Okay. So adding games are pretty easily done. And you can also edit games just by selecting the edit game, and you pretty much get all of the same options. With tournaments, this gets a bit more difficult, so we'll save that for another webinar. But with a regular season, very easy to modify these game times. If you wanted to add practice, we can add a new practice here. We'll select that. And we're going to make a recurring practice. And basically, just so you only have to do this once, even though you know that they're practicing every 9 a.m. on Wednesday. So we'll say, let's actually make it every third week until December 31st. Okay, so we're going to save practice and close duration, let's say 25 minutes. Okay. So that'll make several, and you can look at these specifically by adjusting your date range and what we're looking at here. So the date range, and then we're looking at practice, and let's hide the available time, and then search the schedule.
Hey Jason, were you going to add a non-game event too? We have someone who's requested.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, that'll the next one on the list.
Thanks.
Well, typically this would go with 3. I think in the lag here I may have closed without saving, but typically you'd see multiple practices drop down in this timeline here. But for now, let's just add the non-game events. Events not related to a team, non-game events. We'll make this weekend, and we'll make it an all-day event. You can choose the location. Now, if you do a league-wide event, so you do get to choose here, league-wide or team-wide. If you do a league-wide event, okay, this will show up on the league home just under upcoming events. You can see my barbecue is an all-day event right here, September 6th. So league-wide events will show up here as long as they're not games, which are team-specific. So league-wide events.
So I'm just going to give you a little more information based on the question that I got, because I'm not sure what he was looking at. So this person has done some testing for our scheduling feature, and he says, in testing these were all listed as other on the schedule. I would need it to identify the event as whether it's a tryout or tournament or officiating clinic. It looks like when you added a description, it was listing the title. So can you think of what that other would be in reference to?
In the type here, you'll see game, practice, and other. So
I see.
This all-day event is other.
But the schedule itself.
Now that, as it stands, that's what non-game events are. You can add tournament events, but if you are just booking time for a tournament outside of our tournament scheduler, it would still be listed as other, not a game, not a tryout. And at this time, there's no tryouts. Tryouts can't be added, but through the scheduler at least. And that's what it is. But the title will display, and you'll be able to see it in the schedule with the title of whatever you put it as. In this case, barbecue. And it would be the same in the schedule here.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so if it turns out you're not sure when a game is going to happen, you can postpone a game. So say for some reason it needed to be moved, but you're not sure when it was going to be moved to, we click postpone on schedule. Now, you've got a couple different options here. If you unschedule the game, it will be deleted from the schedule completely. If you choose to postpone the game, it will be moved to a red bar at the top of the line, waiting to have a date, but taken out of the schedule otherwise. When you do this, you can choose to send an email to everyone involved, or you can send an email and an SMS message to those involved, or you can choose not to send a message to anybody, which is what I'm going to do now. And then you just continue, and you'll see the event is rained out or canceled, and you'll see that it looks like this. But if it actually was a rainout, maybe all of the fields are closed, or maybe there's a reason that it's permanently closed down at that location, and they'll all have to be rescheduled. Massive rainouts and closures happen here: field closures and rainouts. You can choose to close all your resources, or you can choose to close your resource locations, or you can choose to close just the specific resources in those resource locations. So let's close all of them, and we will do from today until the end of the month. Big closure. We'll save the field closure changes. It's going to ask me which games I would like to postpone, and if I wanted the same as if I was postponing just a single game. I'm not going to send any. Okay, and then I'm going to continue. And then OK. Now what's nifty here is if you were to go back to the org site and refresh, we'll see that there is currently 3 field closures. And I can click here to view the closure details, which will just show me which fields are closed and when they're closed, or when it was last updated. So this gives an idea to the people participating. Also, you can choose to email them so they would also have that notification about their specific games. I would also like to mention one last option for scheduling, and that's schedule imports. After you've added your teams to your divisions and your resources to your resource locations, you can download the template, the Excel template, from this import schedules section. From there, it'll include different tabs on the Excel file that will contain the information you'll need to use to fill out that import template. I don't want to get too much into that, but it's an option there for you if you'd prefer working with a file like that. In the same way, if you like viewing your schedule in an Excel file, you can export your existing schedules and then view it in that same template. And this doesn't take there's no work there. As long as your schedule is created, you can export it and then see what it looks like. And that's everything for schedules, basic schedules.
So let's see, we're 8:38 right now. If anyone has any questions that they wanted to ask, if you look to that strip of icons for the go-to meeting software, there should be an icon that's a hand. So if you wanted to ask a question, then you can click on that, which is essentially raising your hand, which is nice. And we can unmute you. Looks like we don't have any questions. If you come up with any questions after you play with this, if you do play with this after the fact and come up with any questions, then please feel free to reach out to support. Or if there are other areas that you wanted to get into, like the tournament scheduling or something, then support's always able to help you. Oh, we did have someone come through with a question.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. If you guys can always call in or email in with questions on both these. I deal a lot with those types of questions on importing schedules and tournaments and auto scheduling. So we have some experts in the fields of schedules.
Yes, and Jason's definitely one of our experts. So we had one question that came through in just written form. So does the system send out email or text reminders for scheduled games? I think that's, yeah, so reminders. Do we do reminders in advance of games, or?
Yes, we do. We do reminders in advance for games. Now this has not actually been implemented yet, but probably by the end of the week at the latest. I know that I just tested that this this morning, so that will be coming in this morning. Game reminders, practice reminders, attendance reminders, as well as adding score reminders for coaches. So a couple of different reminders are going to be added shortly, so very soon. I imagine tomorrow, but no later than end of week.
I didn't even know that. It's a good thing to have you on the call.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us for this webinar. As I said, I'm going to follow this up. Probably sometimes it takes a while for me to just get the recording stuff all together, and I will list all the questions out, send those along, and send all the other information, and let us know. You'll be able to respond to that email or contact us at support. So we do thank you for your time tonight, and thank you, Jason. Great job.
Thank you, Christina. Take
Bye.
care, everybody.